Does not exist. Yo, so I am Enate Ojo. I'm giving this testimony live from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm giving this testimony on behalf of my son. I am so happy. I'm here to return all the glory and honor to Jesus. So last year, sometime between October, November, he was diagnosed with upper respiratory tract infection, and this gave us cause for concern because he had this terrible cough that when he's coughing, he'll be, if he's sitting on the chair coughing, before you know it, you'll see him on the floor because it will move him from point A to B. Tears will be coming out of his eyes, like he would be coughing very vigorously. He was finding it so difficult to breathe. It was terrible. So we're in and out of the hospital, from one test to the other, from one antibiotics to the other, from one cough mixture, from one, from different sorts of drugs. And we were just giving, even from natural herbs, ginger, garlic, lemons. We kept on giving and trusting God. And sometime in May, it really got bad. Things really got bad. He got back from school one day and he was crying off his chest, seriously pinning him, his ear, one side of his brain, even his throat. So I quickly ran to the hospital. We did all manner of tests. So they told me to go and do some x-rays and go and see an expert at the ENT department. But before I went, the pediatrician doctor said that my son, because he was already familiar with him, my son already has some allergic reactions. His whole body will be swollen, he will be itching, he will be crying. You can see that he's filled with so much discomfort, maybe one pain or the other, and then it won't stop. In fact, there's nothing we can do to stop it except we give him the anti-allergic drugs like Puritin, Loratadine. So when we got to the ENT doctor, she said that we should run some x-rays and some scans as well. She said that okay, the one side of his head aching might just be an after effect of the excessive coughing, so we should just watch it, but if it persists, we should let her know. In the midst of it all, I checked my friend's status one morning like that. I was feeling so overwhelmed and I just saw that's NSPPD, and I just clicked on the link in the morning. It was during the 10 days fast, so I keyed into it. I honestly followed the prayers morning after morning, and one of the mornings, Pastor Jerry mentioned my son's case. Well, I didn't even wait for him to finish. He was saying that there was someone here with blockage in the nose, and before he could even complete the sentence, whether he was trying to refer to an adult or child, I just claimed it for my son. And that was how I prayed, and I was just happy. After that, I noticed my son's breathing change, because prior to then, if my son struggles to breathe, if he's sleeping in the room, you can hear him from the living room. Like, it was terrible. So in between, just last week, my son had a terrible allergic reaction all over his left lap, because he was having the reaction on his left lap. So it had already spread all over, going down to his knees. And by the time he came to me and he was like, "Mommy, this thing is not working." I'd already told him earlier that God has already healed him. He should just keep saying what God cannot do does not exist. By his stripes I am healed. I woke up this morning after the morning 7 a.m. morning prayers. I checked his labs, everything was all cleared. I checked his whole body, everything was smooth. I was just screaming like, "God, you did this thing." Like, honestly, wait, God, you did this thing for me, for my son. I asked him, okay, before I even start rejoicing very well, did Auntie Lini give you your drugs yesterday night? He said no. I said, "Are you sure you didn't take anything yesterday night?" He said no. I said, "Okay, so you mean you went to sleep after you finished eating?" He said yes. I said, "Okay, like after I finished praying with you, you went to have your bath and you came back to eat, the itching stopped?" He said yes. I was like, God, you are too merciful, you are too faithful. I return all the glory to God. Indeed, what God cannot do does not exist. I just said, let me give this testimony, because I know this reaction, they can never ever stop without giving him this Loratadine or Puritin or any anti-allergic drug that he takes. It can't stop on its own. I just thank God for this testimony.